A sad reality today in Australia is that 50% of the population will suffer from or are facing a form of mental illness, and every day, 1,700 cases of Alzheimer's are diagnosed. These numbers show that many people still do not fully understand their brains. Depression is not just a feeling of sadness. It is a complex illness that profoundly impacts many aspects of life. Interestingly, we can actively improve and cope with this illness. Barbara O'Neill, who has helped millions change their lives with her natural and holistic health approach, has become a great source of inspiration. Today, we will explore valuable insights from her on how to manage depression and enhance mental health effectively. Through this video, you will be equipped with useful knowledge and tools to cope with depression, improve your quality of life, and rediscover joy. Let's explore simple yet incredibly effective methods to take care of mental health and live a happier life. Shocking secrets to overcoming depression and anxiety forever.
I'd like to give you a little bit of an understanding, just a very brief one, of the brain and the different reactions that happen in the brain, which will give us a little bit of a foundation to how we can safeguard against depression, and if we have depression, that how it can be conquered by looking at the brain. And the brain from sideways looks a bit like this. The brain from top down looks a little bit like this. And you'll notice in the front part there are two lobes, and medicine calls them the prefrontal cortex. Pre meaning pre at the front, frontal of course in the front, cortex. The whole of the top of the brain is called the cortex, but this one in the front, it's called the prefrontal cortex, takes up approximately a third of the brain, and it's in the prefrontal cortex where we've got some pretty important functions. One is our intellect, another one is judgment. This is where judgment takes place. And the third function of the prefrontal cortex is reason. These are our reasoning powers here. And I think the most wonderful gift that God gave mankind is the fourth one, it's the will. And the will is the governing power in the nature of man. It's the power of decision or of choice. And when you think about it, our decisions determine our destiny. We don't choose what happens to us, but we choose our destiny by the way we respond or react to what happens to us. And you can see by looking at this that God designed that all our decisions be made according to intellect, judgment, and reason. But something muddies the water, so to speak. It's not that clear cut. So let me introduce you another system. It's called the limbic system. The limbic system is our emotional brain. That's why it's often called the e-brain. And God designed that our emotional brain, that's our thoughts, our feelings, it threads through the prefrontal cortex. And when it comes through, we can decide right then, I will let that be expressed in word, in look, or action, or at this point we can say no. I'm not going to manifest that. I'm not going to do that. It's the prefrontal cortex. Let me show you how it works. In the front part of the prefrontal cortex, so we're going to do the right side. This is your right. There's the I won't. In the left part of the prefrontal cortex is the I will. But right in the middle is I want. See, the highest function of the prefrontal cortex is foresight. So let me give you an illustration. We wake up in the morning, it's so nice and warm in bed, especially this morning, it was quite cool outside. So our first emotion usually is, I'll stay a little longer. Is that right? I won't get up. I will stay in bed. But as our reasoning awakens, I want kicks in. In other words, what do you want out of this day? Where are you going in this day? I don't know about you, but as soon as I wake up, my brain begins. Oops, I've got this on, I've got that on. I'm going here, doing this. I need to get up. I need to pray. I need to ask God for wisdom. I need to read my Bible to get some guidance. I need to run up and down hills and get oxygen into my brain. I need to eat a nourishing breakfast. I will get up. I won't stay in bed any longer. Can you see how they interact between each other? In fact, it is estimated we make 350 decisions a day. And so the proper functioning of the prefrontal cortex has everything to do with the decisions we make in life, and our decisions determine our destiny. So what takes that down? Because when that's taken down and the emotion, the thoughts and the feelings are in charge, it's not a good picture, because our emotions can go up and down like the wind. So what takes it down? Bad air. We should be breathing in pure air. We've looked at this. We're going to the CBD, the central business district of the human body, the inside workings of the cell. The glucose goes in, it goes through a 20-step pathway, and the 20-step pathway delivers to us 2 units of energy. The end result is a chemical form of glucose called pyruvate, we'll just call it the P. It goes through an 8-step pathway, this chemical form of glucose, and gives us 36 units of energy. What makes the difference is oxygen. That's why the 8-step pathway is called the powerhouse of the cell. We have 1 trillion of these in our brain. So if we're breathing in poor air, not enough oxygen, some of our cells are going to be running up here. And that's why pure air is essential for the proper running of the prefrontal cortex.
Changing your lifestyle can have a stronger impact on managing depression than taking medication. Before diving into details, we need to pay attention to our diet. Food plays an essential role in maintaining a good feeling and balance. A diet full of whole foods can significantly change how we perceive life. Nuts and fish rich in omega-3 are excellent nutrients that support the brain and may help reduce feelings of depression. Adding more fruits and vegetables to the diet will provide essential vitamins and minerals, helping us think clearly and feel emotionally balanced. In addition to diet, regular exercise is also extremely important. Physical activity not only keeps the body healthy but is also one of the best ways to improve mood. When you exercise, the body produces endorphins, a natural chemical that elevates your spirits. Whether you choose to walk, take a dance class, or work out at the gym, find an activity that you enjoy to boost your mental health and experience a sense of achievement. Another crucial factor is social connection. Building strong relationships with family and friends helps you create a solid support network, protecting you from stress and loneliness. Joining community activities or volunteering can also provide you with a sense of connection and clearer life goals.
Dr. Neil Nedley says if he's got a severely depressed, bipolar schizophrenic patient, he puts them on 7 hours of exercise a day. That's a bit extreme. Cheap medicine though. That's not 7 hours of aerobic exercise a day. That might be walking around the whole town. Stop for lunch, stop for the bathroom, stop for some water, keep walking, keep walking. What are they doing when they do that? Bringing powerful amounts of oxygen into their body, so their brain cells are starting to work down there. So when I sent my children out to do some sort of physical something in the break, they'd come back like this. And whoa. The dictionary definition of temperance is not taking anything into the body that will harm it and taking in moderation the good things. All good things should be done in moderation, because even good things can go to poison if overdone. Yesterday when we looked at the stomach, we had a look at how you overburden that stomach, even if it's the best food, organic, the best prepared. It can turn to poison if you just overload that stomach. So all good things should be done in moderation, but there are some things that should not enter the human body. There are some things that should not enter the human body if you want to safeguard against depression. Let's have a look at them. Sugar. And I'm talking about refined sugar. I'm not talking about honey or maple syrup. Refined sugar. Why refined sugar? Well, this brain cell, it consumes 15 times the glucose of any other cell. Well, wouldn't sugar be good for the brain cell? Well, when sugar goes in, blood glucose levels rise dramatically. That means that brain function is overloaded. It's almost like trying to control a fast car. So I was in Germany a month ago, and I was on the Autobahn with a young man named Zoran in his Tesla, and we went 220 kilometres an hour. Whoa! It's all right, I loved it. I love speed. My husband was very jealous. I would not like Zoran to do 220 kilometres an hour on the back streets of Frankfurt. And this basically is what's happening with the sugar. It's just hard to control. So very quickly, insulin's released. Get that blood glucose level down. And now it goes too low. How's intellect, judgment and reason down there? What's the old saying? Lights are on but no one's home. That's why William Duffy called his book Sugar Blues. Because what does the sugar cause? The blues. It takes you down. Hybridized wheat. What's this got to do with depression? Sugar has a lot to do with depression because you're getting those quick highs and the corresponding dumps. The hybridized wheat does the same thing. It was hybridized in the 50s, went worldwide in the 70s. By the 1990s, every wheat product you buy is a hybridized wheat. It was pushed through quickly, so no safety studies were done. Sounds like the COVID vaccine, doesn't it? Pushed through with no safety studies. And only now are they starting to realise it's causing a lot of problems. It created a starch that gets the blood sugar level up higher than sugar.
The gut microbiome plays an important role in maintaining cell health. If there is a gap in this microbiome, as we discussed, factors such as medication and refined sugar can harm cells. Unhealthy cells will not function properly. On the other hand, when cells are properly nourished, they stay healthy, just like a happy cell. A happy cell can eliminate unwanted substances, such as morphine, while an unhealthy cell cannot, leading to the accumulation of morphine in the body and affecting opioid receptors in the brain. Caffeine affects nerve cells through a small energy cycle within them. Nerve cells communicate with each other using chemical messengers, which are wrapped and sent to nodes, then released to continue communication with the next nerve cell. The effect of caffeine is to interfere with neurotransmitters, especially adenosine, which acts like a brake. When caffeine enters the body, adenosine levels decrease, while other neurotransmitters such as acetylcholine and dopamine increase. Acetylcholine is related to the function of the prefrontal cortex, while dopamine helps improve mood and attention.
When someone has a cup of coffee, can you see the disruption it causes? Sugar and wheat cause a fuel imbalance. Caffeine causes a chemical imbalance. And what's the definition of depression? A chemical imbalance in the brain. Can you see that these three right off are contributing to that imbalance? And how many Americans have all that for breakfast every day? I know in Australia, I know the Australian figures, 50% of Australians at some time in their life suffer from some type of mental illness. 50%. So what happens? Let me show you. Adenosine levels drop, so very quickly extra receptor sites are developed to grab every bit of adenosine that comes through. That's why when someone stops coffee, they get terrible headaches. Because when the coffee stops, adenosine levels go back to normal, receptor sites are flooded, there's the headache. Acetylcholine, it rises when coffee's taken, and that's why people like it. Their brain works a bit better. But then the brain says, we've got too much acetylcholine. Stop making so much acetylcholine. Dopamine, that's your feel-good hormone. That's your pursuit of reward, pursuit of escape hormone. It rises. No wonder people say, I love my coffee, it just makes me feel good. But eventually, dopamine levels get exhausted and there's no feel-good at all. And it is in that way that caffeine is contributing to depression. There is a way to get off the coffee without all the pain and suffering, and that is to have, if you're used to 3 cups of coffee a day, have 3 half cups a day. Next day, 3/3 of a cup. Next day, 1/4 of a cup. And if you ease off it like that, you won't have the pain and suffering that we see so much at our health retreat. So if people say to me, do you drink coffee? I say, no, I just watch the people suffer. Day 1 at our retreat. Alcohol. Alcohol is a toxic poison and has the ability to kill brain cells. There is no safe dose of it. In fact, in the prohibition, was it 1920 to 1933? Mental institution occupancy dropped to 8%, all because alcohol stopped. Tobacco. Tobacco inhibits oxygen flow to the brain, so a lot of brain cells are up here. Drugs never cure disease, they just change the form and location. In the medical journals it states that antidepressants can cause depression. Now it might help initially, but then the person gets addicted to it. And if you don't find the cause, you'll never have a cure. That's why the detective hat has to be put on. MSG, monosodium glutamate, causes the nerve cells to overfire. So the food tastes great, but the nerve cells everywhere overfire. Mold, we already looked at that. Also electromagnetic field excess. More and more problems are being they find this is contributing to. It's called the silent killer because you can't see it, you can't put your finger on it. Now the drugs, there are 3 types of drugs that can contribute to depression. One is mind-altering legal drugs, mind-altering illegal drugs. If someone says to me, can you help my brother, he's got schizophrenia. I say, how old he is? 26. Has he done recreational drugs? What do you think the answer is? In 99% of cases, yes. There's been damage already done to the brain. Can they recover? It's a hard road, but I have seen recovery. But some never get back to what they were. It's just not worth it. So your mind-altering legal drugs, your mind-altering illegal drugs, but also the side effect of many medications can be depression. You can have 10 people on a diabetic medication and one will get depression as a side effect, but the others will not. So it's hard to put your finger on that one. But to safeguard against depression, this must be eliminated to conquer depression.
Number 4 is sleep. Sleeping only 6 hours each night can double the risk of mental illness. While you may feel fine with 6 hours of sleep, it is actually insufficient. If you sleep for only 4 hours, you will feel tired immediately, but 6 hours of sleep may seem fine. This is a deception. 2 typical examples of the harm of long-term sleep deprivation are Margaret Thatcher and President Ronald Reagan. Thatcher once boasted that she only slept 5 hours a night, but in her later years, she faced dementia. Reagan also said he only slept 5 hours each night, and in his later years, he suffered from severe Alzheimer's. This proves that the brain needs enough sleep to maintain health and prevent diseases like depression and Alzheimer's. Number 5 is exercise and taking advantage of sunlight. UV rays from the sun pass through nerve pathways and reach the pineal gland, stimulating the production of serotonin, a hormone important for our mood. If you're feeling down, going outside and sitting in the sunlight can be a great way to feel better. If you can't do that today, don't worry. You can still try it tomorrow. Thank you for watching today's video. We hope our discussion on natural methods to reduce anxiety and panic attacks has been valuable to you. Simple changes like soaking up sunlight, maintaining regular exercise habits, and finding joy every day can make a huge difference in your mental health. Don't forget to incorporate these habits into your daily life to feel happier. If you enjoyed this session, please like, subscribe, and share so others can explore natural healing methods as well.